I work at Target Supermarket in the little town of Willowbrook. It's a quiet place during the day, but when the sun sets, strange things happen. I've been on the night shift for a while now, and I've seen things that make my skin crawl. Right next to our store stands an old factory, the Willowbrook Mill. It's been empty for years, but in its prime, it was the heart of the town. Now, it's nothing but a dark, looming presence casting eerie shadows over our supermarket. People say the factory holds a dark secret. I used to think they were just stories, but I've heard things, whispers in the night, faint cries that seem to come from nowhere. Some nights, when I'm restocking shelves, I swear I see shadows moving in the corners of my eye. There's a cemetery nearby, too. It's so old that some of the tombstones are barely readable. People say it's cursed, that restless spirits wander there at night. I try not to think about it, but on those lonely night shifts, my mind wanders. The supermarket's lights flicker sometimes, making the place feel even creepier. I've called maintenance, but they can't find anything wrong. It's like the store has a mind of its own, playing tricks on me. One night, I was stocking shelves in aisle 3, the one closest to the old factory. Suddenly, I heard footsteps, soft and deliberate, like someone was walking right behind me. I turned, but there was no one there. My heart raced as I hurried to finish my work. I've had customers come in late at night, but they're not like the regulars. They have pale faces and empty eyes. They pick up items, but when I try to ring them up, they vanish into thin air. It's like they were never really there. There's an old mirror near the restrooms, covered in dust and barely used. One night, I saw something strange in it, a figure behind me, its face obscured. When I turned, nothing was there, but the mirror still held a faint reflection of that eerie presence. I don't know what's haunting Target Supermarket, but I can't shake the feeling that it's connected to the old factory and the cemetery. The stories of the town's dark history feel real now, and I'm trapped in a nightmare I can't escape. Another night, I was pushing a shopping cart filled with groceries down aisle 7. I turned for a moment to grab a box of cereal, and when I looked back, the cart was gone. I searched the entire store, but it had disappeared without a trace. The worst nights are when I'm closing up the store alone. The lights flicker, the whispers grow louder, and I feel like I'm being watched from every corner. It's a race against time to lock the doors and get out, my heart pounding with fear. Every night, I go to work, and every night, I hope it'll be different. But the horrors persist, and I'm left with more questions than answers. Is it the spirits of the past seeking vengeance? Or is there something more sinister at play? I don't know if I'll ever find out the truth, but one thing's for sure, I'll never see Target Supermarket the same way again. The old factory, the cemetery, the flickering lights, and the chilling whispers have woven a web of terror that I can't escape.
My name is David, and I'm here to tell you a story that happened to me at Target Supermarket one midnight. It was a story that I will never forget, and it will haunt me for the rest of my life. I was driving home from work one night when I saw that the Target Supermarket was still open. It was midnight, and I didn't understand why it would still be open at that time of night. But I needed to get some things, so I decided to stop in. When I walked into the store, it was empty. There were no customers or employees in sight. I started to feel a little uneasy, but I kept walking. I needed to get the things I needed and go home. I walked down the aisles looking for the things I needed. But the more I walked, the more uneasy I felt. The store was so quiet, and it felt like I was being watched. I finally found the things I needed and headed to the checkout counter. But when I got there, I saw that there was no cashier. I looked around, but there was still no one in sight. I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to just leave the store with the things I needed without paying for them. But I also didn't want to stay there any longer. I decided to just leave the things I needed on the counter and leave. But as I was turning to leave, I heard a noise behind me. I turned around and saw a figure standing in the darkness. It was tall and thin, and it was wearing a black hoodie. I couldn't see its face, but I knew that it was looking at me. I froze in fear. I didn't know what to do. The figure started to walk towards me. I took a step back, but the figure kept coming. I turned and ran. I ran as fast as I could, but the figure was faster. It was gaining on me. I ran through the aisles, dodging shelves and displays. I could hear the figure behind me getting closer and closer. I ran to the back of the store and burst through the door. I found myself in the loading dock area. I looked around and saw a dumpster. I ran over to it and climbed inside. I pulled the lid down over me and hid. I could hear the figure outside the dumpster. It was searching for me. I held my breath and tried not to move. After a few minutes, the figure went away. I waited a few more minutes before I climbed out of the dumpster. I ran out of the store and into the parking lot. I got into my car and drove away. I couldn't sleep that night. I kept thinking about what happened at Target. I kept seeing the figure in my nightmares. The next day, I went to the police station and reported what happened. But they didn't believe me. They said that I was probably just imagining things. I knew that I wasn't imagining things. I saw what I saw, and I knew that the figure was real. A few days later, I was driving home from work again when I saw a news report on the TV in my car. The report was about a man who had disappeared from the Target supermarket at midnight. The man's wife said that he had gone to the store to get some things, but he never came home. She said that she had called the store, but they said that they hadn't seen him. I knew that the man had been taken by the figure. I knew that the figure was real. I didn't know what to do. I wanted to tell the police, but I knew that they wouldn't believe me. They would think that I was crazy. I decided to investigate the disappearance myself. I went to the Target supermarket and talked to the manager. I told him what had happened to me. The manager was skeptical at first, but he eventually agreed to let me look around the store. I went to the loading dock area where I had hidden in the dumpster. I looked around for any clues, but I couldn't find anything. I was about to give up when I saw something in the corner. It was a small piece of black fabric. I picked it up and examined it. It was from the figure's hoodie. I knew that I had found something important. I put the piece of fabric in.
It was midnight when the emergency hit me like a freight train. I had never imagined I'd be in a situation that required me to dash to Target supermarket in the dead of night. With shaky hands and a racing heart, I grabbed my car keys and rushed out the door. As I arrived at the Target supermarket, the parking lot was eerie and desolate, with just a flickering street lamp for company. I parked my car and noticed the silence that hung heavily in the air. It was a silence that made me uneasy, as if the world was holding its breath. I hurried into the supermarket, the automatic doors sliding open with a ghostly whoosh. Inside, the store was dimly lit, the aisles stretching out like dark tunnels. My footsteps echoed, and I felt like an intruder in this nocturnal world. I had to find what I needed quickly. My heart pounded as I navigated through the labyrinth of shelves, the urgency of the situation never leaving my mind. I reached the aisle I needed, the one with medical supplies. But as I approached, something caught my eye. There, at the end of the aisle, I saw a figure. A tall, shadowy silhouette that seemed out of place in the dimly lit store. My breath caught in my throat as I watched the figure, frozen in place. The figure didn't move, and I couldn't see their face. All I could discern was a dark, shapeless form. Panic swelled within me, but I couldn't turn back. I needed those supplies. I mustered my courage and continued down the aisle, trying to ignore the unsettling presence. I grabbed what I needed from the shelves, my hands trembling, and hurriedly filled my cart. With each passing second, the figure remained a looming enigma. As I made my way to the checkout, I couldn't help but glance back at the figure. It had moved closer, just a few feet away now. I felt its gaze, though I couldn't see its eyes, and a chill ran down my spine. I reached the checkout counter, and the cashier seemed as startled as I was. We exchanged a few hurried words, but the eerie presence still lingered in the background. It felt like the supermarket itself was watching, waiting. With my supplies bagged, I made a quick exit, leaving the unsettling figure behind. The automatic doors slid open again, and I stepped out into the empty parking lot. But something was amiss. The parking lot had become enveloped in darkness. The flickering street lamp had gone out, and I was left in near pitch blackness. My heart raced as I fumbled for my car keys, desperate to leave this eerie place. As I unlocked my car and jumped inside, I realized with a sinking feeling that the figure from the aisle was now standing just beyond the store's entrance. It was impossible. How had it moved so quickly? The figure stood motionless, still shrouded in darkness. I couldn't see its face, but I could feel its gaze fixed upon me. Panic gripped me as I started the car and sped away, leaving the eerie Target supermarket behind. To this day, I can't explain the strange encounter at Target supermarket that night. It was an emergency I'll never forget, but the presence in the dark aisles and the figure in the parking lot remain a haunting mystery, forever etched in my memory.